We are ready, guys, trading with Apex Trader funding accounts, trading Nasdaq with ES here on the left corner. Market is skyrocketing. I believe we are in all-time highs in Nasdaq, where unfortunately, yeah, this market is just going. Literally, is just going. There is not much to do. We can even load the one. Oh, wait. Okay, because this is on the contract, on the singular contract. But if I go to trading view, or here, can I have the continuous contract here, NQ1? Let's see. No, there is no continuous contract in Quant Tower, most probably. I'm not sure. I think there is. I think there is. Let me load it here. Futures. If I go to NQ, I do believe we have it. Yes, front month. Oh yeah, we're all-time high. Yeah, confirmed. All-time high there. Good morning, Matthias. So here is all-time high. We broke it today at 400s. Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning, guys. Yeah, so we are really cruising. If you were someone that invested long-term and bought at the bottom here, guys, nothing to say. You've done amazing. That was insane. And unfortunately, I was not there. I was not there. I have to change the time scale, price scale. What happened with Contour? I don't know what the heck happened. But I come back, my blind was, all my previous settings disappeared. So I'm right now fighting on having the correct setting I had before. Info window, perfect. Bar, time, high, close. Info window. Change percentage, ticks, quarters, low, open date, open. So this is the info window. I'm trying to change these things, bar, time, price. I need only the bars. Yes, I need the price range, not really. I need the angle, I don't need it. Money, I don't need it. Rates, money, yes, I need it. Quote, price change, okay. So last quote, open it, funded raise, low, open. Let's see. Oh, it's not this one. Ah, no, quick ruler. I'm so stupid, so stupid. Oh my God. Put it back. Quick ruler. So bars, price ticks, angle trades, quote, S, sell volume, delta, buy volume, money, price range, yes. Let's see. 33 ticks, 60 days, price 1000. Price percentage 9%. I don't really need the percentage. Price 1000. The price percentage is fine. I didn't price ticks 7000. What the? Yeah, 7000. Wow. Price range, I don't need you. And then money, yes. Yes. And then we can just increase it. Nice. Hi guys, Alfonso, good morning. Guy, good morning. Nick, good morning. Rushinko, good morning. Fayaz, good morning. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And as well for you guys, how is opening final market today? All-time highs. All-time highs on Nasdaq, guys. If you invested on the lows here, right now you're up 36% or something like that. Yeah, 37%. Absolutely insane. And you know who bought there at the bottom? You know who bought there at the bottom? Not me. So no, yeah, it's not me. Unfortunately, I didn't have the balls. I was like, oh, it's gonna crash more, it's gonna crash more, like an idiot. Oh my God. Hamza, I read in Discord you are trying to have bigger risk reward, right? Like 1, 2, 3. No, I go on the go. If there is opportunity to have, let's say, for example, let's go to my 3-minute chart. Let's go, for example, here, and let's say this market, oh, this is the info window. It comes back, it liquidates this low, and I find that possibility long. Then I will be like, why looking for one-to-one risk reward of the risk I'm putting? Let's try to get a little bit more to the next high that the market is trying to reach. So it's on the go. At least one-to-one. Let's try to get a little bit more. It's gonna be hard to trade. It's been always hard to trade this shit in the last period. It's never been easy, this shit, guys. Never been easy. Never been easy. The market is open. Of course, we're scared. Oh my God, what is that candle? Okay, 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 okay. That's beautiful. How much we jumped there? 15 points. Opening of the day. Yeah, look at the. I have ES here on the front side with you guys. If you want, if you need to watch it, it's here on the bottom left side. So we have a 15 minutes chart here on the left, and we have ES here as well, the 30-minute chart. You know what happened yesterday? They have to take out leverage long before pushing higher. Since they're pushing, man, they're really pushing without us, but it's okay, it's okay. Yesterday, this was happened, and I feel like this was the opportunity of yesterday. It does not look that much, but here we had, I was looking at the chart later, you know, when I was done on the day. There was this triangulation here. We faked out the break lower, and then we come back higher. And at the same time, these matched the break here on ES. The fake out we were speaking about this yesterday. What was it yesterday? Somewhere here. Was it this one? 23? No, yesterday 24. Here yesterday 24. This one. This matched this one. These things 10.06 matched this 10.06 here, the liquidity grab of NQ on the bottom here, and of ES. These two messed up. They were a good opportunity. When you saw this ES, like Nick said, NQ did a similar things on a triangulation pattern here, on a trend line pattern. It is what it is. We learn, we grow, we keep pushing. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Execution, risk management. It's boring to say it, but it's the only thing that is going to keep you in this market alive longer as possible. Keep improving, trading as best as you can, instead of you know, losing money over and over time. Powell speaking today again. So annoying, that guy. So annoying in this period. You cannot have a day where there is no news, guys. It's really annoying, but we have to go through this period of. We have to trade through some news. We have to trade through some news. We will see what happened, but yeah, we have to accept that. We have to accept that. So what do you have in the NQ stock here? Everything is pushing. Every stock in NQ is pushing. The only one that is not pushing is Tesla. Literally is the only one. Let me show you. Does it show you? No, it does not show you, of course. Look at that. The only one that is not pushing, we have Apple, Nvidia here, going all of them, and then Tesla. Only one with a red candle here above. So that's an interesting things here. All the others are a little bit pushy right now there. Tomato. That's it, my friend. That's it. Yeah, I think you get in a period you're like, you're done with your bullshit, you know, because it's something you and yourself, you know, you cannot point the finger to something else and say this is the fault of the market of being shit today. No, the market is gonna be shit, not today, many times over. Do you wanna blow up your accounts every time the market is shit against you, or you wanna control yourself and be like, I'm done trading today. It's a red day, accept it. I cannot be green. Imagine yesterday. Imagine this, Tomato. Imagine this. Yesterday you said that this is not to attack you, but just to help you, just to remind you. Yesterday you said, I'm done trading, and you were down $200. And I told you, that's a beautiful loss. That's a beautiful loss. Move on. Tomorrow is another day. Today you are up $600. The day of yesterday disappears. The reward of yesterday red day would have come today, and you would have said, oh, thanks God, yesterday I accepted my loss. And already today I recovered and made money. The reward of yesterday, accepting your loss, comes late. It's delayed gratification. On a red day, you have delayed gratification. On a green day, you're already getting the vibes, you're already happy. But the red day, delayed gratification comes. And that is why it's hard to accept it. Dark race. Yeah, guys, accept it. Rules sucks. Rules can sound as something like blocking you to make money, but when you're still not that profitable, that strong profitable, you're not that guy that makes, freaking money, and like breaking a rule is not that an issue because you know to control yourself. At the beginning, control yourself with rules. Let's go, Tomato. Yeah, that's it, Nick. When you switch, and then how a day becomes so relaxing when you finish the day red and you say, I took the trade I should have taken, I put my stop loss, I accepted it. Market is shit. There's nothing else that you can do. And you move on. It's so relaxing. Your heart is so relaxed. But of course, if you evaluate your day on a green or red things, you're like, oh, I'm red. That's not trading. We know that trading is a really long run. No, the funny thing is that Tomato has a really good edge. He knows how to trade. He just has to accept the right days when they come. It's not, yeah, Look at that ES still. By the way, ES still did not take any loss here, guys. ES still didn't take any freaking loss. At least on this consolidation we had here on the last pre-market. Like I told you, Tomato, try to do a 1 month. 1 month where you follow your rules of taking free trades and be done. And then you see the results. Then at the end of the month, you're like, my PNL is red, but I followed my rules. You know where to correct things. Instead of going to a month, at the end of the month, and you look at the data and you're like, I'm red on things, but I as well broke rules. That's a lot of shit to evaluate. It's emotional. Probably you're not making money because you just blew up and you just did not follow rules. But if you follow rules, at least you know that the problem is somewhere else, and it's just probably strategy-wise or execution or stuff like that. Let's go, man. It's a new day. It's make it, make it day one. Now is day one. I'm gonna follow my rules for the next 30 days. You want 30 days. That's good. Tomorrow, day 2. Monday, day 3. Day 4, day 5, day 6. I'm day 30. Reach day 30. You know what, guys? I tell you my story of my first payout ever. Do you want to know the story? I can tell you the story how I stopped breaking my rules. How I realized that consistency was the most important things. And that's why as well having people around you, it's so important. I tell you the story because now there is nothing to do here. We're just waiting. I tell you what happened. Last year and a half, I was broke. No money in my bank account. Literally, I was getting to zero. And Jose, the guy that you see here sometimes with his new name, I forgot every time his new name. Jose, we were trading together. He was teaching me mechanical trading, and he was making payouts and making money. And he told me, and I was still breaking the rules. I was not believing in the strategy. When I had red days, I was like, Jose, this shit does not work. I think it's better if I move my stop loss to break even. And I was doing stuff that he was telling me that were outside the strategy. And then one day, because Jose knew I needed money and stuff like that. Jose was like this. Now you have a new PA. He was a fresh new PA. He told me like that. For 1 month, trade it without breaking any rules. If you reach at the end of the month without breaking rules, I think I already said the story, without breaking any rules, I will give you $2,000 no matter what. No matter what. And if you reach, and if you break the rules, I'm not gonna pay you. And I was broke. And at that time I was like, yeah, it's kind of working for someone. I was like, yes, I'm gonna do that. I've done that. I followed the rules. And at the end of the month, yeah, flips. That's it, Jose. And he told me, I followed the rules and everything. For me, my idea was like, oh, I'm gonna follow my rules. At the end of the month, Jose is gonna pay me $2,000. At the end of the month, I reached payout. And Jose was like, this is your $2,000. Mind blowing. I was like, what the fuck? You know, because I was starting to focus on following the rules just because I was like, I'm working for Jose, you know, following the rules and everything. And then everything paid off. Sounds so stupid. Follow your rules, keep doing the same things, but it pays you in the long run. We are not trading the singular day. You have to stop looking at PNL on a singular day. You can look at PNL on a monthly basis. You can look at PNL, but don't stop looking PNL on a singular day. If you execute every day, your PNL does not matter because you don't know in a singular day what can happen. Like we said, Trump can say something and it stop you out. Is it your fault? No. Is it the strategy fault? No. Stop doing that. At the end of the month, if you execute everything and your month is red, then you can say, oh, okay, I have red PNL. Let me evaluate what I can do better. Then yes, you can do that because you have data. You have 50 trades, 40 trades. We're speaking a statistic game. I'm to make a separate channel Discord to have. Yeah, I can do that. We can do that. I can do that. Yeah, stop. Execute as you do. Follow your rules on a daily basis, and after like days and days and days, you've done the same things. You can evaluate and say, "Oh, I'm still red. Something has to be changed." Okay, you can definitely do some changes now. I guess I was wrong this time. What did you do there? But still, I'm right. I have to take out. Yeah. That is the point. If you're speaking about the, yeah, you can be wrong. You're not even wrong. You can. I would say that you're not even wrong. Yeah, day by day, no PNL. I will say even weekly, I will not even check the PNL on my week. I don't do that. I check my PNL on the month, and I'm like, okay, last month I was red. I had many red days. Let me evaluate to decrease my red days. That's what I did. I was like, I have too many red days. Let me evaluate my red days. You know, you do these things. There has never been a month. Yeah, I mean, the most we're not perfect. We're not perfect. You're right on that. We're not perfect. The most important is that we don't blow up. Yeah, I like that type of grading. You grade by type of entry, execution, and sites or whatever. Flips. We're already all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken, guys. You can confirm that, but we are already all-time highs here. Look at that. This is the all-time highs of December 17, 2024, and we broke the all-time highs just now. Oh, not on the SPY. Ooh, okay. Let me see. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh wait. Yes, it's correct. No, let me put the correct contract here. I need to put the continuous contract. Ooh. Are we there? Are we the all-time high? Almost. Yeah, it's 166.50 there. This guy is flying away. 15 minutes is over. I'm gonna put the range. The range is here. 50 minutes range. Oh. That's the way. Journaling is the way. Like Nick, journaling is the way. Have more data as you can. Data that can help you evaluate your trading, which mistakes you're doing more. Write down. Use Excel. Use paper journaling. Use whatever you want to use. More data you have, more knowledge you have, more analysis you can do. 0.53 out of 1. Tesla is still selling off. Tesla is still selling off. Amazon turned back. Nvidia is the one pushing. Tesla just selling off, guys. $335 there on Tesla. I'm just waiting for this market to come back. Baby, Siddhar, welcome. Long in 3, 2. Oh, you're long here, the break higher. Good luck. Good luck. Yeah. What's the answer? Can we get along? Can we get along? It's still like 0. What's our payout in this month? Like in June, 0. June like previous month, 0. Like previous month again, 0. My last, let me load my Apex Trader account. I'm honest with each one of you guys. This is my payouts. It did not change in the last month. I wish. I wish, guys. I'm gonna load the payout request page so you can see it. Everyone can see and you can know. I don't hide anything. I work. I work. I have a job. I work. Having a job, well, at the beginning, guys, it's mandatory. Don't leave your job to become a full-time trader. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I'm gonna show you my payout. That's my face. So this is all my payouts. It's they are confirmed, you know, as well below. Last year I made all these payouts. This was my first ever payout. This last year went very well, and then this year my latest payout was February. It's been a while now, right now, but I changed strategy. I changed way of trading. It's yeah, normal. So that's the reason, guys. So I'm honest with each one of you. I don't hide anything. It's everything here. Yeah, you mean yesterday? Yesterday here, if you're speaking about that yesterday, this triangulation here matches the liquidity grab of NQ. So this could have been a nice long idea. continue higher, but Powell was speaking, I guess, as well. I mean, I didn't see that, to be honest. I didn't see that. Guys, we're getting some pullback. NQ ES is definitely getting this range out. Let's see. It's gonna be interesting right now. Yeah, that is the beauty. Is that I'm not worried that I did not make money the last month. I changed strategy. I changed my way of trading by a lot. I was taking only 15 minutes break last year to having a different type of strategy now. It can take months, but then when the turns is gonna be there, I know that I'm gonna start making payouts like a lot. I know that it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time and acceptance. That's why having a job is important. I don't need to rush. Why am I rushing to get payouts and increase my size here, put 10 contracts and risk $500 in one trade? For what? For what? There's no reason. That's a beautiful red candle. Really. We're getting some sell situation right now. That's quite interesting. Let me see, because I like this idea that we in ES we came back low that much. Let's see. What was the highs? What was the all-time highs here? Oh, that it's very low. Okay, I see it. Let's see what it wants to do. I will even look for a long if it gives me right now. If it gives me the opportunity, I will take a long. After we took the lows of the day here, we grabbed it. I can even look for a long. Stocks are holding there, but I need to see a candle that gives me some confirmation. Not something like that. Do you trading for life or do you have another job? I have a job. I have a job. That's what I say. Look how much I made this year. Look how much I made this year. $4,000, $4,500, and I'm up like $1,000. I will never do it. I have a job. I will never lie on that. I'm not a full-time trader. I wish. I need to see if everything is working correctly. Oh. Yes, correctly. Everything is working correctly. I like this long idea, guys. 30 seconds. I'm gonna wait for this candle to close. Still 4 contracts is fine. Gonna move to 3 contracts. I will be long there. If we break higher, gonna wait for that 3 minutes candle to close. I really like the stocks are holding as well. Only if we break the previous candle high. Powell in 6 minutes. We're gonna risk it. English is not my first language. No worries. I believe most of us here don't have any English as a first language. I think Nick and Sam have, being English people here. The The UK people here and the Americans. 911. A Porsche 911. Who knows that scene of the helicopter? You're welcome to be in this channel. Guys, we're long. Good luck to everyone. And you have to check if I'm long with every account. I am long. So I wish you the best, guys. Like Missouri. British American. I mean, if you know the scene of the helicopter in New York, 911, it was beautiful. That is like a genius scene. What is this line? Ah, it's the middle of the range. What the heck? I was like, what is this line? Good luck to everyone. Wish you the best. Oh, I mean, I can sell one, I can sell two and leave one there if it happens. The Leader, is it the movie? It's called The Leader? Movie The Leader. No. Movie 911 joke Porsche. Porsche. I mean, people knows that the Dictator. The Dictator, bravo. The Dictator is the movie. If you don't know, if you didn't watch that movie, guys, you have to watch it. That is one of the best movie ever. So much truth in that video. Oh, that movie is so fun. That movie is so freaking fun. Guys, we're pushing right now. I like the stocks as well. Let me show you some stocks to here on the left side. Now, this is my Apex account. Here we have Amazon pushing, Nvidia still holding, Google as well, Microsoft is holding. We're in a good situation. Nice trade, Hamza. Thank you, Nick. I like it for this, taking this low here of the day, and ES coming back below this range as well. Was a nice confirmation. Can I draw? What the heck? Can I draw? And this range here on the lower side of ES. Let's see. You know, maybe it's not gonna work, but at least we take it when it's good. Yeah, I mean, it has stereotypes, but as well, if you like jokes and stuff like that, it's not a. I love that. I love that. Okay, we leave it there. We have time to hold for these things. Ready for fireworks. I mean, the funny thing is that let's see, Papa Powell. New home sales at 10 a.m. Good luck, everyone. In 1 minute and 13 seconds. And do you remember yesterday on that speech, the lady was speaking about home sales? So today, her news is here. I mean, Powell yesterday was positive on the home sales. So I'm expecting home sales to be fine, okay? He was very like, yeah, on the long term, we were good. Tomato, enjoy your coffee. Yes, definitely enjoy your coffee with your dog walk as well. Uncle Powell. Bye. $28 seconds. Put Powell in the small screen. Is it already speaking? Yesterday, guys, it was so freaking boring. Yesterday, live stream. I'm excited to do live streams because it's you know, trading with people and stuff like that. It's fun. You know, we do it as well because it's nice. But yesterday, live stream was one of the most boring live stream I've ever done. Now is out. Good luck to everyone. Let's see if I can get Papa Powell in the screen for you guys. I'm gonna wait until he appears. No, not yet. He's not yet speaking. Good afternoon, David. Habib. Good morning, everyone. Oh man, wait. I said good morning, David, but I was reading the live stream chat of the other channel that is showing showing Powell. What the heck? Okay, we're getting some little bit of sell there. It's no panic. Panic. No panic, guys. No panic. Oh, it's okay. Home sales can decrease. Let's wait the market to tell us. I like that Microsoft flagging to go higher. Amazon holding. So hopefully we can get a little bit more push there. It's giving us back, but we still have a room. We're kind of back to break-even situation. Still there, ready to go. Yes, Sabria, that is beautiful. Stop loss hit, free trades taken down, $33, followed my rules. Beautiful. Beautiful, you followed your rules. You followed the execution, good job. Trump speaking as well. Oh my God, guys, we are... Yeah, Powell is not speaking right now. He's still not speaking. Amazon is pushing. Can we get some push there from the market? Yeah, yesterday was trading a lot in the 50 minutes range. Might be happen today again. But we took these lows. We took these lows as well. I hope we're gonna take these next highs. But it might be not the case. Not be the case. Oh, he's speaking. He's speaking. He's speaking. Powell is speaking. Let me put it for you guys. Let me see. No.
Too early to say that something like that's going to happen, and I know you know that, but I wouldn't want to throw out a specific number. If prices went up materially, people would feel that.
Okay. Again, I think
Sims is coming to us.
The data here, WTI
Powell say that is beautiful. This is a beautiful world.
It about $120 in 2022. What do your models suggest would occur to inflation, and how would it influence the Fed's thinking should we be back at $120 a barrel?
Well, let's just say there's a big price spike in that range. So, we would look at that and we would ask ourselves, we look at the overall situation, we would ask ourselves, should we react to that? So, for example, during what we called the Arab Spring back in the early teens, oil prices went up a lot, and that went into the price.
Since the market wants to come down. Okay, Powell, thank you so much for the help today.
$1.9 billion price tag at a time when the
I really
Fed
don't know.
hasn't turned a profit since 2022.
Look at this market. Look at this
all
here.
agree that updating
Look at Microsoft, guys,
is
flying.
a legitimate need.
And Apple and Tesla are the one taking us down with NQ right now. But the others are holding, to be honest. I'm quite holding. So NQ is really coming down because of Tesla and NQ here and Apple. But the others, look at Microsoft pushing to the highs.
Institution is being questioned. The central bank joined a global organization to green the financial system under the leadership of President Biden, and only to exit it as soon as President Trump took office. That's not neutrality, that's drifting. Now let's turn to supervision at the Fed, which at times is unduly burdensome.
Stocks are doing quite well, to be honest.
must right-size the regulatory framework for banks to eliminate unnecessary burdens, especially community banks. I'm encouraged that the Fed is taking important first steps on capital, and I look forward to seeing what comes from the board's meetings today on revisions to supplementary leverage ratio standards. But more work needs to be done to ensure capital rules don't choke off access to credit.
And now we are almost back to break even.
That's why I want to underscore the importance of empowering the newly confirmed Vice Chair of Supervision, Governor Michelle Bowman. Governor Bowman has been a consistent voice for transparency, accountability, and just
same shit as yesterday.
I expect her to lead on reform at the Fed.
Tesla is the only thing's annoying us today a lot, but hopefully he's gonna stop freaking grinding lower. We are very close to stop because we're reaching a consolidation level, so we had a few days ago. So if Tesla starts to bounce, it's gonna help us a little bit. Microsoft is flying, so that's good. And Nvidia is pushing right now, guys. Nvidia is pushing.
But since Trump became
Here
president,
on the top side, this is a 5-minute chart. Beautiful push there. So hopefully we can get some little bit there, some help. Tesla.
Continue to climb.
Tesla, what are you doing, Tesla?
Workers' worries over layoffs have climbed. Since January, businesses big and small have been paralyzed by uncertainty, and they have hit the brakes on investments.
Oh, she's so negative.
The cause of these problems has been the chaos caused by one person.
She's so negative.
President Trump. Chaotic trade policies.
Stop it. Who are you?
To families' health care Mrs.
Wappen, stop crying.
And wholesale deregulation of our financial system.
She's the one right now kicking us.
Fraudsters and con men on the middle class. First, trade. Trump continues to play his lose-lose game of red light,
really?
Green light,
what
red
the
light,
heck?
Green light on tariffs.
Stop crying.
When this administration
she's like
tariffs on
everything is shit.
Food
everything is burning down.
To electronics, working families pay the price.
We're gonna get stopped out
by
these.
The middle class and bad for Main Street. Tariffs like these mean higher prices on essentials for consumers.
Okay, let's be careful that my candles not stop moving.
While large corporations and the wealthy find ways to shield themselves from the impact.
Yeah, shield yourself.
Tax cuts.
Tesla fly.
Trump's one big beautiful bill that Republicans are jamming through Congress represents
I'm just joking.
Of wealth from working people to millionaires and billionaires in American history. How are Trump and Republicans paying for part of this $4 trillion?
I guess she's democratic for how she speaks.
To billionaires? Well, by kicking 16 million people off their health care.
Nvidia guys flying.
Cutting food assistance for more
Nvidia
than
to the highs.
Children,
look at this.
And raising monthly
Nvidia to the highs, guys.
Payments for
if Nvidia keep breaks and keep pushing,
just after
we're getting in a good state. And Microsoft still holding these highs.
To raising costs
love that. And Google as well is coming to that direction too. So let's see.
Also choke economic growth. This isn't tax policy. It's economic warfare against the American people.
My side, ICT.
When they throw 16 million people off their health
call me ICT,
the
guys.
Republicans still can't pay for the lavish.
You don't understand, but I'm ICT next level.
So instead of just saying that billionaires and billionaire corporations should just pay a little more in taxes, they put the costs of those billionaire tax cuts on the nation's credit card, the national debt. The Republicans plan to run up the national debt by another
Come on, Nvidia, keep pushing.
$4 trillion and expect our children and our grandchildren to pay for it. And finally, deregulation. This administration is systematically dismantling the safeguards that policymakers put in place after the 2008 financial crash to prevent Wall Street from creating another crisis. Less than 2 weeks ago, the Fed board decided to lift Wells Fargo's asset cap. You couldn't even wait until Wells managed to make it one whole year without being caught in a major financial scandal. In just the past 6 months, Wells has been caught and confessed to cheating its customers, cheating its investors, and cheating its workers. The trifecta.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's not good.
And tell Wells it's okay to expand the number of customers, investors, and employees that it can cheat is an outrageous giveaway to one of Wall Street's most derelict banks.
It's coming to us.
And
Let's
today,
see.
you will leave this hearing and go directly to a meeting where the Fed is expected to vote to lower capital requirements for JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the other too big to fail banks. At a
Here it
time
comes.
when the economic data are flashing
Here it
red,
comes.
these short-sighted changes will increase the likelihood that these mega banks once again tank the economy and then come back here to beg Congress for bailouts when their risky bets go bust. To sum up Trump's economic agenda, it's chaos and pain for the middle class and even more profits for the
We knew
powerful.
that. We knew that.
American families will face higher costs and new risks to their health care and their bank accounts. Unemployment will tick up and our economic growth will slow. And that's not just me saying this. It is exactly what the Fed's latest economic projections
Do you ever move your
indicate.
stop loss? I might sometimes
hope my
cut it out
Republican
before if I don't like
colleagues will
anymore,
wake
but
up
I
to
should
the
have cut it
chaos
before when it
around
came out
us.
here
It falls to
in my
Congress to
in my
stop
entries.
Trump's
But
trade
I still
war
liked it, so
and
I'm gonna leave
kill
my
this
stop loss there.
big, ugly
If I get
bill.
stopped out, I get stopped
And
out.
Chair Powell,
I like the
it
trade.
falls
I really
to
love the
you
trade.
and the Fed board
The trade idea was good.
not to pile additional risk onto Trump's existing chaos.
If I get stopped out, I can
by
look for another
dismantling
entry.
the
Okay, I got
safeguards
slippage
that
as well.
protect American families
Oh, I did not
from
see the
another
entry.
Wall Street meltdown. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Warren.
I got
Today we'll hear
slippage
from
like
the Chair of the
always,
Federal Reserve, Jerome
but I
Powell,
didn't. You cannot see
on
my
the
entry.
semi-annual
Let me
monetary
show you
policy
the
report to
entry.
Congress. Chair Powell, thank you for your testimony today, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Chairman Scott, Ranking Member Warren, and other members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to present the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, slippage again
semi-annual
by a
monetary
beautiful
policy report.
$46
The Federal Reserve
lost for
remains squarely
slippage.
focused on achieving
But
the dual mandate goals
it's
of maximum
understandable that I
employment
will
and
get in
stable
slippage. I was
prices
ready
for
for
the
it.
benefit of the American people.
So right
Despite
now we
elevated
wait.
uncertainty, the economy is
If
in
there
a
is another
solid
entry, we're
position.
going to look for another entry,
The
but right
unemployment
now
rate remains
there's
low,
not much to
and the
do.
labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has come down a great deal, but has been running somewhat above our 2% longer run objective, and we are attentive to the risks to both sides of our dual mandate. I will review the current economic situation before turning to monetary policy. Incoming data
Yeah,
suggests
yeah,
that the
you will get
economy
slippage. So
remains
here I
solid.
definitely I would have getting
Following growth
slippage.
of
I was like ready for it.
2.5% last year, GDP was reported to have edged down in the first quarter, reflecting swings
I was
in
thinking
net
to cut it a
exports
little
that
bit
were
time
driven by
before, but
businesses bringing in imports
nah.
ahead of potential tariffs.
Not for this
This
trade at least.
unusual swing has complicated GDP measurement. Private domestic final purchases
Actually, it
or
looked very
PDFP,
interesting with Nvidia when it was
which
pushing
excludes
here with
net exports,
Microsoft, but now
inventory
it's
investment and government spending,
nothing.
grew at a solid 2.5% rate. Within PDFP, growth of consumer spending moderated, while investment in equipment and intangibles rebounded from weakness in the fourth quarter. Surveys of households and businesses, however, report a decline in sentiment over recent months and elevated uncertainty about the economic outlook, largely reflecting trade policy concerns. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment. In the labor market,
How much is
conditions have
burning these
remained
days,
solid.
guys?
Payroll job gains averaged a moderate 124,000 per month, 124,000 per month in the first 5 months of the year. The unemployment rate at 4.2% in May remains low and has stayed in a narrow range for the past year. Wage growth has continued to moderate while still outpacing inflation.
There's not much to do now than waiting,
Overall,
guys.
a wide set of indicators suggests that conditions in the labor market are broadly in balance and consistent with maximum employment. The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures. The strong labor market conditions in recent years have helped narrow longstanding disparities in employment and earnings across demographic groups.
499.
Inflation
Good luck.
has eased significantly from its highs
Good luck.
in
That's good. That's beautiful.
mid-2022, but remains somewhat
After we
elevated
didn't go
relative
for
to
the
our
highs
2%
here that
longer-run
quick,
goal.
that
Estimates
kind of a
based on
signal would be
Consumer
like,
Price
oh,
Index and other data
maybe
indicate
it needs to
that
grab more
total
lows.
PCE in prices rose 2.3% over the 12 months ending in May, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.6%. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up over recent months, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Respondents to surveys of
All of
consumers,
these laws have not been
businesses, and
taken out.
professional forecasters point to tariffs as a driving factor. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to
Get ready
promote
for the
maximum
long.
employment and stable
If
prices
the long comes
for
back,
for
I will take
American
it.
people. With the labor market at or near maximum employment and inflation remaining somewhat elevated, the Federal Open Market Committee has maintained the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25 to 4.5%
Few reasons. Which one?
since the beginning of the year. We have also continued to reduce our holdings of Treasury and agency mortgage-backed securities, and beginning in April, further slowed the pace of this decline to facilitate a smooth transition to ample reserve balances. We will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. Policy changes continue to evolve, and their effects on the economy remain uncertain. The effects of tariffs will depend, among other things, on their ultimate level. Expectations of that level, and thus of the related economic effects, reached a peak in April and have since declined. Even so, increases in tariffs this year are likely to push up prices and weigh on economic activity. The
This
effects
brings
on
here.
inflation could be short-lived, reflecting a one-time
I like the
shift in
years
price
that came
level.
out below
It is
this
also
range as
possible
well.
that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the tariff effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully into prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
Really, it can start again?
The FOMC's obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to prevent a one-time increase in the price level from becoming an ongoing inflation problem. As we act to meet that obligation, we will balance our maximum employment and price stability mandates, keeping in mind that without price stability, we cannot achieve the long periods of strong labor market conditions that benefit all Americans. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait to learn more about the likely course of the economy before considering any adjustments to our policy rate. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country.
Just wait for me, Nick, to get
Everything
stopped
we
out
do is
before
in
going
service
long.
to our public mission. We at the
Or
Fed will
take
do
a trade
everything we
against
can
my stop.
to achieve our maximum
make
employment
money.
and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Ah,
Thank you. Now, I'll be keeping us to a pretty strict 5 minutes, as we have a lot of senators who want to and deserve time with the chair of the Fed. So, Senator Rounds, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the courtesy. Chairman Powell, first of all, let me just touch base on, I'm just curious, a couple of items almost of housekeeping.
coming back.
nature. The, with
yeah,
regard to
this
Wells
still
Fargo,
this long can still be
was
interesting,
that
yeah.
asset cap,
Nothing to say, yeah.
removing
Gonna
it,
just wait.
That was a unanimous vote by all 7 Fed governors. as I
Oh my
recall?
God, Google is
was.
pushing and stuff like that. So maybe there's still a good long can come.
I really appreciated the chairman
But I'm
bringing
gonna
up
wait.
the fact that you have identified reputational risk and have addressed it. I think that was a really important item for the Fed to do, following up on both the OCC and the FDIC's actions.
It's
As
tough
you
market,
know,
my
past
friend.
Fed
Tough
materials
market
like
this
the
week,
supervision and
last
regulation
week.
report often embedded reputational risk within the management component of the CAMELS rating system without clear metrics or accountability. That kind of ambiguity can chill lawful activity and distract from your core mission, monitoring capital, liquidity, and operational resilience. Now that the Fed is moving toward a more objective and disciplined approach to supervision, how will you make sure that this change is fully implemented at the exam
So Trump is
level?
speaking right
And
now.
more broadly, what other
Powell is
regulatory
speaking right
updates
now.
can we expect?
So on following through on supervision, Vice Chair for Supervision Bowman actually brings an unusual background
guys.
to this work, and that is that she's a former supervisor.
That's what
So
I said
she-
every time.
She speaks that language.
Have a part-time
and
job
relates to
when
their
you're
work. And I
trading.
think
One, you get
if
busy.
anyone can
When you get busy, you do something else, and you don't stress yourself only with trading. And you don't have to rely only on trading. That's the beauty. I will have always something else that is not only trading ever in my life. That's 100%.
have an effective relationship with them and work with them successfully, it would be Vice Chair for Supervision Bowman. So I'm confident about that. As we think about things that are going on,
If you're
in the
new, guys,
pipeline,
remember to subscribe. And
so I would
there's
just
no
point to a few
80% off
things.
right now. I have to remember
Basel
the
III Endgame,
top bar. I forgot it. I'm sorry.
We're going to look
Sorry.
at the rating system. We're going to be actually
Right
voting to put
now,
out
there
for
is
comment
only
something on
50%
supplemental
off.
leverage ratio this afternoon.
And I don't know
We're
which one
looking
is
at
the
our
bar
merger
for the
policy,
50% off.
Stress tests is a big thing, and there are a number of things that we're looking at there that we've announced and we'll be moving to in time.
Thank you, sir. The payment of interest on reserves has become a central pillar of the Fed's post-crisis monetary policy.
Okay, I don't know what's the
framework.
50%
Since the
bar.
transition away from the pre-2008 scarcity model, where reserves were tightly managed to influence the federal funds rate, the Fed has relied on an ample reserves regime.
Someone of you
using
unsubscribed.
administered rates
Shame.
like
Shame on you.
interest on reserves to maintain control over the short-term rates. As of February 2025, nearly 19% of the $18 trillion in bank assets were effectively loans to the Federal Reserve, earning interest.
See you tomorrow, Mufti. You
Given
did
the
good, flat.
structural shift,
There is no need to
how
push these
feasible
days.
would it be for the Fed to return to a scarcity-based framework where reserves earn little or no interest? And if interest on reserves were eliminated, what would be the impact that would have on the Fed's ability to unwind its balance sheet and manage policy?
So you reached the 50 years.
So we're in an ample reserve framework.
Hopefully
now,
one day.
and that's a good thing.
For the
That's a
moment where
result
we
of
go
the
to
global
25,
financial
30.
crisis and the
That's
desire
okay.
to have lots and lots of liquidity.
We're gonna. I'm
and
waiting just to see
large
this market
liquidity
to freaking go back up
requirements for our largest
above the
banks
opening
in
print
particular.
level
So
to look for a
that's
long
good
again.
thing, and that enables banks to keep lending through stress and that kind of thing. If you were to want to go back to a scarce reserves, it would be a long and bumpy and volatile road. I wouldn't recommend that we undertake that road. It would not save any money. There's an illusion that it would save money. That is not the case. And it would also not make credit more available. This, in effect, I would say having a lot of liquidity in the system, which is what goes with ample reserves, make sure that banks will be able to continue to lend. So we think it works, and I think unwinding it is a policy choice which could be executed, but it would take years to execute, and it would be challenging and quite volatile.
Thank you. I've just got about 35 seconds left or so, but I did want to touch on one item that the chairman mentioned it, and I think it's important. I know that you didn't mention it in your opening statement, but would you talk a little bit about just exactly what's going on with your building when you have that type of an overrun on the price?
Guys, I'm getting bored like yesterday. I swear to you guys.
For you to be able to explain
This
to
brings
the
is
committee exactly
so
what's
freaking
going on. Would
boring.
you take a few
And
minutes, please,
trading
and
has to be
explain
boring,
what's
but this is
going on
insane
with
boring.
The value of that building and why the costs seem to be so exorbitant.
What is this
I'd be
price
glad
action
to
these
if I can
days?
have that
Yesterday,
time.
look
So
at this
please,
price action
Thank you
yesterday.
for the
Same
letter we
shit.
received late yesterday. We will provide a much more
What the
detailed
fuck are we doing
response, but
here?
Just generally,
Here was a good price
I
action.
would just say
That's
do
why we went
take
for a
seriously
long.
our-
I didn't
our
capitalize.
responsibility as stewards of the,
That was my
of the
mistake on that
public's
shit.
money. And the other thing I would start with
What the heck is this?
no
Oh, this is
one in
because of
office
the new
wants
contract.
to do a major renovation of a historic building during their term in office. Much prefer to leave that to your successors. And
Tough
this
to
is a
manage
great example
mentally.
why, let alone 2 historic buildings that needed a lot of work. But we decided to take it on because, honestly, when I was the administrative
I'm so
governor before
tired.
I became chair, I came to understand how badly the Eccles building really needed a serious renovation. It never had one. It was not really safe, and it was not waterproof and that kind of thing. So we took it on. I would start by saying,
Nvidia is pushing, Google is pushing, Microsoft is holding. Only Tesla is still selling off, and that's his, and Apple as well. But
and I would just point
I
to,
still
there's no
like the
VPI
longs, but
dining room.
I got
There's
Tesla
no
guys
new
is
marble.
going
We
going
took down
crazy.
the old marble. We're putting it back up. We'll have to use new marble where some of the old marble broke, but there's no new. There are no special elevators.
How much Tesla lost there?
Elevators that have been there. There are no new water features. There's no beehives, and there's no roof terrace gardens. Other than that, so all of the sort of inflammatory.
Tesla
things
lost
that the media
7%
carry
today,
are
guys.
either not in the current plan,
And it's still
or just
crashing down.
inaccurate. So
Tesla
but it was
minus
notwithstanding that
7%.
the cost overruns are what they are. So let me just say on that.
Well, we're well over the 5-minute mark. I'm happy to give you time to talk about that. I'm happy that there are no beehives in there, but we're going to figure out what they are anyways. Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So, Chair Powell, the Fed released its updated economic projections last week, and I appreciate your summary, but I want to look at the trend lines here. The Fed's outlook on inflation, the labor market, and GDP growth have all gotten worse. Compared to your
Okay.
economic projections in
Tesla
December,
continues selling off, guys.
the latest numbers show that the Fed is now projecting
But
higher inflation.
along might come and to be
2.5%
interesting.
in December, now to 3.1%. Higher unemployment from
Apple is bouncing.
4.3% to 4.5%. Lower economic growth from 2.1%
Change your platform.
projected just 6 months ago to 1.4% that you're now projecting. Chair
By the way,
Powell,
I
what
asked-
has changed
I asked
in the last
Zen
6 months that has
Trade
caused
Zella
the
to give
Fed
me
to forecast
affiliate code.
substantially higher inflation,
They didn't,
somewhat higher
they didn't reply
unemployment,
yet.
and lower economic growth than you did in December?
So some of it is just taking signal from data reports that we've seen. Some of it is people working in the possible effects in the short term of tariffs. We have no view on
That's a
the
beautiful
wisdom
candle
or
there
the
here,
longer
guys.
term effects of trade policy. It's not our
That's a
job.
beautiful
And
candle.
by the way, I should add, our forecasts are generally, and in this case, are very, very similar to what outside forecasters are calling
I understand that.
for.
I'm just using you as the gold standard here. I know it's consistent. But you mentioned tariffs as one of the things that has changed over the last
That's a beautiful
6
candle
months.
forming right now there, guys.
You know, Donald Trump has become
I would like to see
president and
first the
economy has
price
headed
above
down.
the opening print
Not
level,
only does
but
the
this is,
Fed data
I'm
now
liking
show
it.
slower growth and higher prices this year, it sees slower growth
Microsoft
and
is still
higher
pushing.
prices over the next 2 years.
I'm long at
as
the break with
well.
5 minutes.
And the Fed
What is
sees
the freaking
no
5 minutes?
longer-term boost to the economy or drop in inflation. In other words,
Oh, already,
no
so you're already long
upside
right now.
to Trump's chaotic tariff war or his other economic policies. So let's talk for just a minute about what's under the hood of the Fed's economic forecast. Chair Powell, I know a lot of different factors influence.
Good
the
luck, my friend. I
trajectory
like the
of
long. I
interest
just want to
rates.
see the opening print
Is
level
one of
above.
those factors how quickly the federal debt grows relative to the growth in the economy?
We're
Not
getting some nice
directly,
push there,
no.
guys.
We don't look at that as a factor that helps us set monetary policy.
So you're not watching the ratio between the amount of the federal debt and the growth in the economy?
No.
How fast the debt is growing and how fast the economy is growing? I think I have quotes from you
I
saying
just need-
last year, quote,
Yeah,
"We
I'm
don't need
just
pay
waiting
the
to
debt
see
down.
this.
We don't need to balance
See you
the budget.
tomorrow,
We just need
Matthias.
the economy
See you later
to
as well.
grow faster than the debt." Are you saying something different from that now?
No, when asked and pressed, I pretty much always say the same thing as my predecessors, which is that we're on an unsustainable path. I would not say, though, that we do, I will say this, we do not look at federal financial policy and deficits as something that affects our month-to-month
I still like the
monetary
long
policy
idea.
decisions.
I'm
Liking
trying to
it
get
more.
the overall
Stocks are really
projection
pushing
of
right now, a
what
bit more than before,
happens
but
in
I
the
just need to see
economy. So,
the
for
candles being
example, I
above.
think you have made
the
the
opening
point
print level.
that if we spend on things like childcare that can boost labor participation and GDP, that may be a time when you offset the debt that you incur to do that. But if there aren't investments like that and we are simply running up the debt, what's the impact of increasing the national debt? So I understand that you don't comment
She's not good
on
for
fiscal
NQ.
policy, but it does affect your job, which is keeping inflation
She's the one
under
that
control
took me
and
down.
also maximizing
Tesla, guys,
employment.
still pushing down.
If certain
I don't know if you're
policies would
looking at Tesla,
materially drive up the
but
national
Tesla is just
debt
flying down, guys.
and
It
increase the debt to GDP
only one green 5 minutes
ratio
candle since
over
the
time,
open.
could that make it more likely that we would see inflation, all else being equal?
I mean, theoretically, sure, fiscal policy can add to inflation, but that's, again, that's really not something we comment on. We try to
coming
stay
down.
away
I
from
understand
fiscal
you don't
policy.
comment on it, but I do appreciate your acknowledgement of the math here. You know,
bingo
the
night.
Joint Committee on Taxation projects the one big beautiful bill would increase federal deficits by $4.2 trillion. According to analysis by the Congressional Budget Office and the Yale Budget Lab, the bill raises the debt to GDP by 24 percentage points. It slows economic growth, it increases inflation, and it reduces real wages. So two of Trump's signature policies, his tariffs and his tax bill, will increase costs for American
God.
families. When America borrows money, it should be for investments that Americans need, like investments in childcare or housing or healthcare that would actually boost economic growth and lower costs. America should not take away healthcare from millions of people who need it and then borrow trillions of dollars just so that a handful of billionaires and giant corporations can get even richer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Jared, banks are facing a record number of regulations. Small community banks are especially burdened by compliance costs. Bank capital requirements should also be appropriately calibrated so banks are not
Guys,
forced to park capital on
are
the
we gonna do something
sidelines,
here or
limiting
not?
access to capital for Americans and small businesses. I was pleased to see that the Fed is
I would like
looking
to see this
reform
break.
the supplementary leverage ratio. The SLR is supposed to act as a backstop to risk-based capital requirements, but too often the SLR acts as a binding requirement for U.S. banks. Would you agree that adjusting the SLR would free up capital for banks to invest more in treasury markets?
Everything is
and
really
other
pushy,
low-risk
guys. I'm
assets
like,
that would be beneficial to
okay.
families and
Everything is
businesses
pushy in the
across
market. Only Tesla is coming down, but the
Do you
other
agree
6
with
stocks are holding. 5 stocks.
Vice Chair Supervision
Well,
Logan
how is the heat map?
recently acknowledged that regulators tend to review individual elements of the capital framework in isolation without
Heat map is mostly
considering
green.
whether proposed changes are sensible in the aggregate and contribute to a capital framework in which all components work together effectively. Do you agree with her assessment, and how are you looking at the capital framework holistically to ensure that the Fed is not stifling economic growth?
I see if all the people are buying right now, they're gonna get destroyed.
We're looking at basically
20
the two big pieces
just
now.
if you went long
Basel
here,
III and the leverage ratio.
that was
And
already
I'm pretty
20
confident
points.
We'll move on both of those in the,
No,
in the
20
relatively
ticks.
near future. And they fit together, as we discussed.
No, that's 20
the leverage
points.
ratio was always supposed to be a
Yeah,
backstop
82
rather
ticks,
than
yeah.
the binding. We want risk-based capital to be the binding capital requirement. So that's how those two pieces work together.
And as you look at I hope a reintroduction of Basel III, if you're thinking about the bones of Basel III, obviously over the last several years, we talked about this on Monday. We've heard the comment that the capital requirement was about right, although that capital requirement has been going up.
Google is
every
pushing,
year.
Nvidia is pushing,
And so as you look at Basel
and
III
Tesla is coming
back,
finally with
hopefully
some
being
green
reintroduced,
candles
not
there.
just recalibrated. What are you for?
Okay, so you still have a little bit more then. I like
Well,
it.
we very much look
Honestly,
forward to
everything
working
is
with
pushy
our
right now.
colleagues at the OCC and the FDIC on Basel III
We have,
endgame.
look at the
And,
stocks.
I would agree. We're gonna take a fresh start.
Look at
that.
Nvidia here, guys, on the highs. Look at Apple, how it
last proposal,
bounced quite
was
nicely.
actually well above
Google
Basel
is pushing.
minimums. That's the thing. It was the ways in which
Amazon
it
is
was
still
gold-plated,
there,
as
but
we
it's
say,
holding. Only one is Tesla.
rather
We're
than their Basel
down
requirements, which were very significantly exceeded.
7% from the entry from the start of the day.
Giving us an opportunity to go back to the spending at the Fed for the construction, and you said that the items that were listed are
I'm just
not
looking at the
happening.
possibility
I
there.
will say that the
Go for a
National
long.
Capital Planning Commission website, ncpc.gov, anyone can take a look at it for themselves, not just looking or listening
still
to the
fighting
New York
here.
Post, not just the Wall
One
Street
second,
Journal,
first
but
candle, now candle is gonna
page
close.
129 of the final plans reflected rooftop garden terraces.
Yeah,
Page
Tesla is
127 and
dumping
129,
crazy. How
where
if
we
Tesla
have
is dumping
elevated
crazy,
water
I'm gonna
features
guess
in final plans, the new elevators.
some crypto is going down as well.
drop
Usually
board
take
members off
a
of
little
the
bit. No,
VIP
no,
dining
Tesla,
suite.
yeah,
It's
Bitcoin
page
is
37
107.
of the final
Bitcoin
plans,
is, I think, is
white
ready to
marble.
go all-time
It's
highs.
pages 40,
We liquidated a big
41,
level at
65 of the
100,000,
final
so
plans. I would welcome your
there is
staff
chance that
coming
we're gonna
in
really start
to walk
accelerating.
my staff through what is happening there, as opposed to what we not have only read in the New York Post, not only in the Wall Street Journal, but also
Bitcoin is holding,
at
yeah.
the National Capital Planning Commission's website. So we would welcome that.
I would like to see this
opportunity
candle coming
Can I
lower.
just quickly say, some of those are just flatly misleading. The idea of elevators, it's the same elevator. It's been there since the building was built. So that's a mischaracterization. And some of those are no longer in the plans. They've, that's earlier. The plans have continued to evolve. And
Can we get this
One of the
candle
questions
coming
I asked
lower?
my staff before having the conversation with you in the preparation, and assuming that your response would be to refute some of the things that were happening, was to ask the question, well, since the articles came out in April, have the plans changed since April as a result of the media attention to it, or was that just never in the plan? I would just say that having an understanding, a clear understanding of what's going to be and when it changed would be helpful for us. I will note that having confidence in what we hear is incredibly important, and I would give you the opportunity to bring your team in and or send your team over so that we can have that conversation. That would be helpful.
look forward to doing that. And if you'll allow me to say one more sentence, none of those things are really were the cost drivers. You know, the real thing is what were the cost drivers that caused the spending to increase, and we have those too, but those are not the things that did that.
Well, I don't want
We
to
look forward to the conversation.
I don't want to eat into Bernie Moreno's time because he's kind of cranky when I do. I would just suggest that when I hear that things are completely and wholly inaccurate, and then I hear that they weren't quite
I
the
like
way
this
they
push.
were, those are two very different framings of the conversation. And I only read page 129, 127 through 129, page 37, page 40, 41, page 65, page 129, because I could be wrong without any question.
This is
but I don't wanna be
this is coming to
misled.
be interesting for my
That's
point.
different. Next would be Senator Reed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chairman Powell.
Yeah, if your idea, if
Many
it's come back
times you've
here,
been asked about the
then the short to
status
here
of
can be
Fed
interesting.
independence from the president, his constant harangues about interest rate policy, et cetera. But over the past year, we've
But as well,
also
we see
seen
here something here is
judicial pressure
all
on
these
the
shorts,
Federal Reserve's independence. The
all
Chevron
these
case,
people holding break
which
short, they're getting stopped out here.
dramatically eliminated, the deference to agency decision-making. Also,
I'm more
extended
long
the
than short.
statute of limitations on
Just
the
because the
administrative
stocks are
procedure Act.
flying.
And there is a strong sense that they're about to overturn Humphrey's
I mean, each one of us has
executive
different
case,
ideas
which
and
will
reading of the
eliminate
market.
the
Just
independence
always
of
remember that
practically all agencies.
whatever you do is
What's
following
your
your
judgment
strategy.
on the cumulative effect of these judicial actions with respect to the Federal Reserve's ability to do its job?
I mean, the net effect of all of those will be to make courts substantially less deferential to agency decisions. And so that's just the new world we live in. We'll continue to do our jobs, and obviously we'll respect the law as it is. That is the way the law has been evolving, though.
But there is increasing pressure on the
This guy is so quiet.
independence from the White House. And do you believe that if Humphrey's executive case is decided in a way that
Some more
gives
longs
the White
get
House
stopped
more
out.
additional authority, that'll be invoked against the Federal Reserve?
I mean, I think that
I'd rather not
quite a few ones
speculate,
get stopped out.
if I may,
guess.
Senator.
That's quite all right. The U.S. dollar. I remember when the phrase was "sound as a dollar." That phrase is getting less used these days. In fact, Bloomberg reported last week that foreign companies are demanding to be paid not in U.S. dollars, but in euros or Chinese renminbi. First, what benefits does a strong dollar have for us, and how will we suffer if the dollar is no longer considered to be the currency of world record?
So there are enormous benefits to having the dollar be the most important reserve currency in the world. It remains such, and for very long standing and continuing reasons, which is, our rule of law, our democratic institutions, our commitment to price stability, our open capital markets. All of those things remain intact, and I think being the reserve currency doesn't last forever, but it's quite a durable equilibrium, and I suspect that we will be the world's reserve currency for a long time to come.
Coming down for your 87. Let's see.
Indications.
87. Your 87 is
confidence
here.
in our currency is eroding in some places. Is that those?
I wouldn't say that. I think it's this is a very fundamental kind of foundational aspect of the global financial system is the role of the dollar. And markets move around. Markets are digesting information that's sometimes very challenging to digest. I'd be very reluctant to come to any longer run conclusions about things that fundamental this quickly.
Well, I would suggest, and I know you will, you'll keep your eye on it going forward. One of the things you've made very clear is that income inequality and lower rates of upward economic mobility are two of our biggest challenges. And you've also indicated that this is probably beyond the ambit of the Fed.
What a shitty
price
action, guys.
These are more legislative issues. And I would concur. So I was disheartened to read a report from the Congressional Budget Office, which is an independent agency, that the recently House-passed reconciliation bill will take approximately $1,600 per year from the lowest income Americans and give approximately $12,000 to the wealthiest Americans. That seems to be directly
I see.
contradictory to a society who's
That's why
committed
they lost
to,
7%.
raising the income
Okay, for
and
87 there.
opportunities,
Let's see.
and increasing upward mobility. Do you think that's a fair estimate?
I don't know, and I'd be very reluctant to comment on the reconciliation bill.
Guys, I'm
even
thinking to
indirectly.
grab along here.
Well,
grab
your
above this.
wisdom and sagacity has preserved you, and I hope it continues to do so. I must commend you finally by 2 or 3 years ago, everyone around here was predicting or guessing how deep the recession would be. And because of your leadership at the Fed and other policies, we've avoided a recession. In fact, until
I just like
recently,
that
we've
really
been
that we're
growing
pushing on the
faster
stocks
than
by a lot.
every other economy.
So I'm gonna
You-
risk it.
You deserve credit for that. Thank
Go
you.
long.
Just
Wish you the
reiterate
best.
my opening comments for those who may not have been here when I made the comments that Chair Powell has a hard out today. Therefore, I'm going to do my best to keep us at 5 minutes. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, did I understand you to say that the reconciliation bill is the most extraordinary legislation you've ever seen? Did I hear that correctly?
There may have been some lost in translation
I
there.
understand. I was a little late. Tell me what tell me what the bond market.
They're laughing. The market should fly.
Bond market's fine now, functioning well. It's pricing, it's reacting to economic news. There's adequate liquidity. Rates have come down pretty significantly from where they were a couple months ago. So I think I think inflation expectations have come down a bit from April, and in general, the bond market is functioning well.
Okay. Explain to me why we have seen in the last few months weakness in the dollar.
That's a great question. Of course, the Treasury Department has the job is responsible for the role of the dollar. So I don't know. I think
Risk it for the
I would
biscuit.
Go back to the thought that
I like the trade. I'm gonna
markets have
take
been
it.
digesting an unusually challenging set of circumstances, and
If I get stopped out,
have
peace and
reacted the
love.
way they've reacted. The dollar's kind of stabilized now. In fact, it's moved back up here in the last couple of weeks a bit. And there are plenty of people who are still writing that the dollar is still overvalued. We don't have a view on that, of course, but I wouldn't really have an opinion on exactly why it is where it is.
Well, clearly there's a lot of geopolitical risk right now, which would lead one to conclude, all things being equal, that people would be flocking to the dollar. And it would be strong.
I mean,
Well, you have seen some of that here in the last few days. But again,
I mean, yeah, there's no change that much. I believe that if it hits
an
here,
official view I'd like to share on that.
It's
I
one
think there are
tick.
possible explanations, multiple possible explanations. Again, one of which
But
is
thanks.
that some people still feel the dollar is highly valued.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I want to talk for a few minutes about tariffs and inflation. What does history tell us?
Fala, you still
about,
didn't send me your
about
PayPal, I
tariffs
think,
and-
or did you
and
send
its
it to me?
impact on inflation or
Let's see what if you wrote me what
The
Fala.
thing is,
I
we've-
texted
We've
you.
been through
No, I didn't
a
text you.
long period in which tariffs were going down. Remember, since World War II.
Can you tell me if I
really,
texted you on
it's
Instagram right
been
now?
a process
If it's
of
you,
lowering tariffs
Fala?
globally. So there just isn't a lot of modern learning.
Can you
on that.
let me
I think
know?
people look at the incidence of tariffs during the
Is it that you?
president's
I
first
texted you
term,
right now in this
but
call.
Those were like 1/6 the size of what's people
Ah.
are estimating now. And they do find some effects on inflation. But remember, in 2019, when those tariffs were put into place, the economy was slowing. We actually cut rates 3 times. Inflation was running at 1.5%. So it was a very different time. This is different. I think one of the reasons why it's
Yes,
so
it's
challenging
you.
is that there really isn't a modern precedent, and I think we have to be humble about our estimates.
I
and
wish
we
you
are
told me,
very
yes, it's me
open to the
from YouTube,
possibility
so I can confirm that it's
transmission
you.
through into inflation will be less
Not
than
from
we
Discord.
think, or maybe more than we think, which is why we're in a position of wanting to take our time and make a smart decision as we see how this unfolds.
Well, obviously, the size of the tariffs makes a difference, does it not?
It does.
And we don't know yet the size of the tariff.
Okay, that's
We
good.
don't- And we don't have a view on any of the merits at all. That's not our job. Our job is inflation, as you know, and maximum employment.
$25 you
Will it
want to
also
remember, right? It
matter,
was
let's
$25.
assume that there is upward price pressure. Would it matter how much
Some beautiful push here from the
businesses
market.
decide to pass on versus just eat? Does that make sense?
Yes, that matters. That is what matters. You know, the question is who's going to pay for the tariffs? Originally, it's the importer, but it gets passed along through the distribution chain.
Can we get a nice push, guys, from this market?
The question of it is how much of it does
Come
show
on.
up in inflation.
Come on.
And,
Come on.
and honestly, it's
Tesla's,
very hard to
oh,
predict that
not Tesla,
in
Nvidia
advance.
pushing,
So
guys.
we're
Oh my
watching
God,
to
Nvidia,
see,
so sexy, guys.
you know, what shows up in measured inflation.
If
Nvidia is so sexy.
the president's trade negotiators pursue
I wish Nvidia was my
reciprocity,
girlfriend.
which I define
She's so beautiful.
as both sides reducing
Look at that Nvidia, guys.
quid pro
She's so
quo,
beautiful.
reducing tariffs and trade
Thank you,
barriers
Nvidia,
as
for
much
being
as
that nice with
possible.
me today.
Ideally,
for the
in a
moment.
perfect world,
Thank you.
we would end up with
Amazon
two
as well,
sides
coming
with zero
finally breaking
tariffs
some
and zero trade
about the VWAP.
Would that be
Apple is
inflationary?
getting as well a nice push
No,
there.
not at all.
Can we get
That
something
would
right
cause
now,
the economy
finally?
to roar, wouldn't it?
I think it would be.
Yeah.
an
Okay,
outcome.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your endorsement, Mr. Chairman, of the reconciliation bill.
Senator Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Funny
This is
thing,
the-
Kennedy,
the-
I didn't
the rich
interpret
laugh.
His comments that same way.
Oh,
I would also say that, one, thank you, and we echo what Senator Reid said, thank you for your independence and doing the job.
$1 million.
End of the day, I
In-
think
in their
tariffs are
bank
a tax
account.
and they're going to hit. They're
I
gonna
would
hit,
laugh as well like
I think,
that.
starting next quarter. And again, I think the
Said no.
reciprocity.
here
argument
fighting with the
probably
candles.
is a nice goal. I guess, I hope we can then explain to the Australians who are a strong ally of us, who we have a free trade agreement, so we don't have tariffs, who we have a trade surplus with, who I'm hoping we're going to be able to build jointly submarines, why they, with all those things, still got whacked with a 10% tariff. Doesn't seem rational or logical to me. But let me get to, I've been very concerned about some of the Trump administration's, I think, mismanagement of the federal workforce. I can tell you some of the Doge approach in the national security.
Yeah, I'm in
intel
Powell for
world,
sure. Let's see.
Cuts are having dramatic
ChatGPT.
effects. But today I want to mention something that, frankly, doesn't get a
What
lot of
is-
attention. A very small entity.
What is the
Bureau of
the
Labor
net
Statistics.
worth of Powell?
U.S. economic data, which has always been independent, it's really been viewed as the gold standard across the globe. And frankly, the BLS data often is the gut
Powell
that
has a
investors
$55
usually
million. Oh, we're gonna coming back. This is your
BLS
short, Nick.
helps us get information about cost of living increases.
This is your short, Nick. Coming there.
policymaking
Wow,
for
it
you
will almost get
guys.
stopped out there.
It's used to adjust payments on the roughly $2 trillion in Treasury bonds. The truth is that the BLS data shouldn't be degraded on any basis. Yet, the administration is so dramatically, and I hope my Republican
Ready to
colleagues
close
are
it.
clear on this, cut back the staffing at BLS, that the BLS has had to significantly cut back on the collection of critical price and inflation data. Normally, BLS staff, when you don't have all the data collected, will estimate about 10% of the inputs into the CPI. Now,
A
with
lot
these
of support
cutbacks,
here.
they've had to estimate close to 30% of the data. That means faultier data. How can we grapple with this, and what does the undermining and staffing shortages at a BLS mean in terms of your ability at the Fed to do your job?
you know, we can still do our job. I would not want anyone to think that the data have deteriorated to a point where it's difficult for us to understand the economy as well as we can understand it, which is not perfectly. But the direction of travel is concerning. You know, the U.S. has been a leader globally in investing in how to measure the output of a modern economy, which is something that we've led the world in for a long time. And it really helps not just policymakers, but also businesses if we have accurate information about what's going on in the economy. You're making decisions based on that economy, not just the Fed, not just you, but private companies as well. So I think it's I think it's something we should continue to invest in. And I don't like to see any deterioration in the public data, which has been the gold standard. The BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and others have really been the bedrock that people really do look to as solid data that tells
Okay.
These people who
I'm gonna get stopped out.
collect this input, who do some
We
of
got
this
stopped
analysis,
out. Have a
they are
beautiful
experts. They are not
There's a beautiful day to lose
fungible. You fire one and hire
$11,000.
another. I mean, there's an expertise here that is.
No loans today worked out, and it is what it is. Guys, for me it's time to call it. Have a beautiful day. It is what it is. See you tomorrow.